Hey guys, wanted to go ahead and do a re-review of the Letshuoer Cadenza 4. I actually got a lot of requests from a lot of folks that are like, hey, can you re-review that because your old format was in the old format. So let's go ahead and re-review the Cadenza 4 in the new format. So before I go on further, I'm going to go and put some notes on the screen. Please note that whatever is in the notes is a little bit different from the video. I'm also going to try to give you 1 second per page so that it gives you enough time to look at the notes. Okay, let's get started. Alright, so the Cadenza 4. So I just want to say up front, my old review of the Cadenza 4, is definitely outdated. Basically, when I first started, I was on this crazy kind of adventure trying to find IEMs that are like really good for mixing and voiceover editing. And then after a while, I'm like, nobody gives a fuck. And let's just focus on IEMs that people like. And once I did that, I started getting a lot more views. So I'm just like, yeah, let's just do that. Anyway, let's just talk about... first things first, what does this sound like? So this IEM is really hard for me to describe. And in fact, I'm not kidding. When you type in Cadenza 4 in a Discord, nobody agrees what it sounds like. Some people say it's bright. Another person will be like, that doesn't sound bright to me. No, it's bright. It's not bright. Bright, not bright. Nobody knows what it is, okay? And even the graphs look a little fiddly because when you look at it, I remember a long time ago, this is actually a true story, when folks were saying you should check it out, and it maps pretty close to a lot of other IEMs that I was like, no, that's redundant. But what I can say is this IEM is actually, it's going to be hard for me to describe it, so I'm going to actually just talk about it piece by piece and to go from there. So, and let's break it down because it has some unique qualities about it. All right, so let's talk bass. Barbie wanna party like all night. So the bass, I like the bass a lot, okay? For me, I would give this a grade of A, but it's a weird sort of situation. So the bass has nice punch and power, and it doesn't feel anemic, and it doesn't feel pillowy. It does have punch and power, but I can say with certainty, I do like the Defiance bass over this. I like the Swan and V's bass over this. I like the Dusk's bass over this. I like, heck, as much as I don't like the 02, the 02 has better bass in this. As much as the Astral has better bass in this. So if I would give those guys an A, well then I can't give this an A. I have to give this a B. I also do want to mention one thing as well. When you look at a lot of reviews, and I couldn't help stop looking at it, when you look at other people who review the Cadenza 4, there are many people that say this one line. Basshead folks would probably not like this IEM. And I agree, but it's not anemic. The bass is actually, for me, really, really good. I personally think it's an A, but I think other people would probably give it a B or a C. So I'm going to play it safe, and I'm going to give it a B. But I'm going to say, in general, like, I think this bass sounds better than Volume S, okay, which I just heard yesterday. This bass is just, it has nice punch and power, but it slants right. Okay, the sub bass.
Yo, what's up? This is Tajay of the Mighty Souls of Mischief crew. I'm chilling with my man Festo, my man A+, and my man Oh, you know he's dope.
On here, so in the background, when you hear brum, 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 what does it sound like? It's correct. It sounds correct to me. Like, it doesn't sound anemic or below, and it doesn't sound Beats by Dre and exaggerated. It sounds correct, like on the dot correct, which, in my opinion, may or may not be a good thing for a bass head. But to me, I'm like, no, that's how it's supposed to sound, is the impression I get with the sub bass in the background. It sounds correct. Okay, let's talk female vocals. Female vocals, I'm going to go and give this a grade of A. It is so strange for me to describe how this sounds like. It is, okay, and I wrote this a few times. It is conventionally great. It is conventionally a great sound. But it's, so the thing about this IEM is that when it comes to female vocals, it is conventionally great. As in, like, it sounds good. It sounds great, but it sounds correct. Like, it's just like it's like let's say there's a book on how vocals should sound, right? Hypothetically. This sounds by the book correct. but it doesn't do anything special, right? So let me give you an example. This is the, I love this IM, right? This is the Civic Q. This IM is not by the book. It is special. The way it sounds is special. The Misty Blue, that is a special IM. When you listen to that, some vocals can sound, I swear to God, a bit angelic. The Studio 4, it has this thing where it just feels like someone's singing one arm away from you. It's special. It's unique. This sounds like, when it comes to female vocals, they sound correct and good and great in a familiar sort of way. Like, oh yeah. Like, in other words, if you're listening through it's hard for me to explain it, but if you're listening to the vocals, you're like, oh, that sounds correct in a conventional way. It doesn't sound, but in a weird way, it's not special. You know what I mean? And that's why it doesn't get an S for me. It gets an A. Like, everything just sounds by the book good, right? So, in other words, female vocals, they sound nice and full and thin. I mean, nice and full. They're not warm slanted. They sound more almost neutral, I would say. But people are going to be like, what the hell? Like, because I tend to, and I'm being honest with you, I tend to view U-shaped IMs as neutral for my ears for some reason. But female vocals, they don't sound thin. They don't sound bright. They don't sound like warm and husky. It sounds closer to like neutral, like kind of, or correct. It just sounds correct. It sounds really well done. Okay, let's talk male vocals.
You give your hand to me.
Male vocals are so weird on this in a great way. I had trouble describing this. You know what this is? Guys sound the way they should sound. My own voice, when I would actually wear this IM and I would use a microphone, it sounds just like me. It's so weird. I was like, wait, what the hell how do you, and this is hilarious. This actually happened. I was actually monitoring with his headphone. My friend comes in the door. He's like, dude, hey man, you want to go eat lunch? Dude, that dude sounded exactly the way he should sound. My voice sounded the way I should sound. That's what's strange about this with male vocals. Guys sound the way they should sound. Like Justin, I don't know whether that's how Justin really sounds like, but I'm like, this IM, when I listen to it, I'm like, this makes it sound like, that's probably how he really sounds like. When I listen to Chris's voice, he's not huskier, he's not thinner sounding, he doesn't have that gravitas or huskiness that I usually like with IMs. He just sounds like, that probably sounds how that dude sounds like. And so I was so confused that I actually started listening to a ton more male audio tracks.
Take me out for a midnight walk around.
And because I was confused, I'm like, how do you rate that? Is that considered great? Is that considered good? Is that considered average? Like, how do you evaluate male vocals where they sound exactly the way they should probably sound like? But as I started going through a whole bunch of male vocals and songs, I'm like, dude, this sounds awesome. So I'm going to give male vocals an A here because, in my opinion, but it's A in an unconventional way. You see, I have other IMs where the male vocals are kind of more, I would say, amplified, or they're like kind of a little bit more gravitas in their voice. And because of that, it's an A. This is more like, that dude just sounds the way he should sound, is the way. And I'm actually starting to understand why, in many ways, I actually really do like this IM, or at least I used to, for mixing and critical editing. Now, I actually like the Orchestra Lite better, but that's a whole other story altogether. Okay. Soundstage on here. Perceived soundstage even was kind of confusing me too. I actually made a comment about this, but it's kind of like, and I actually literally wrote this in there. It's kind of like, you know what it is? It's like when you wear an IEM, you're like, oh, that sounds spacious, or no, that sounds small. But what do you call it when you take off the IEM and you grab a Coke and you drink Coke and you don't even think about how the room sounds around you? That's just the way it sounds. And that's kind of like how this kind of sounds like sometimes. That's just how it sounds. Like when I look at the movie scene, I'm like, but that's supposed to be how it sounds. Does that make sense? So I'm going to put like great or good on that. But it's not like YU9Q, where it's just like YU9Q just felt like, holy crap, that feels expansive. Or it doesn't feel like Kiwi or Astro, or like, whoa, that feels massive. This just sounds more like, that's, you know what I mean? That's what I actually wrote in my notes. It's like you take off your IEMs and you're about to go to bed and your alarm goes off or whatever, and like that's the way it sounds. You don't think about soundstage, but that's just the way it sounds in the room. That's kind of how it sounds like, if that makes sense. Okay, so enough glazing. Let's talk about what's wrong with this IM. There's a lot wrong with this IM. So when it comes to, I would say, instrument harshness, it can definitely get a little spicy at times, and I actually had to drop the volume a bit, but it was still okay. Like it wasn't that bad when it came to instrument harshness, but holy cow, vocal sibilance, as in like kind of sounds. This is atrocious.
In episode 6 of Seinfeld.
Extensive backstory for Christoph.
Gotta go somewhere, so can we make this quick?
This is absolutely terrible when it comes to vocal sibilance. What happens is, at regular volume, you're gonna get it'll be like around low to medium on sibilance. But when you crank this up about 25%, everything was like high, very high, painful. So this is basically extremely sibilant when the volume gets high on this. So this is a big, huge warning. This is not an IEM for everybody. This is a very harsh IEM when it gets pushed, right? So that was something I considered a good thing if you're editing audio. This is a bad thing, though, if you want to enjoy an IEM. Okay, comfort on these were excellent. I thought they were fantastic. Let's see, what else do I want to say? Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how I would describe this IEM in a nutshell.